it occurred to me that one of the great tragedies of working in a thankless grind of a service or retail job is that the three things that you most need to stay sane, or in fact should even be job requirements, are forbidden to you, and that would be showing up drunk or stoned, entertaining yourself with tasteless material, and 3, playing with the intercom.
Yeah,
at a grocery store.
Well, it's never stopped me before, though,
and thank God it didn't, because I think if you're not doing at least 2 of those 3 things, you're going to snap. I see people who cultivate an attitude of strict no nonsense, where it's not even that they don't create nonsense, but they stamp it out whenever they see it. Yeah. That's hard.
The big black kid that crushes your whole block. Dow Jones, milestone, genuine short shot. Street smart, sweetheart, you never want none. The beat starts, airing them out, run. I don't get down with snitches and the crooked shady bitches that want.
This is Breakup Gaming Society. Welcome, your host, Typhus the Traveler, with
Montclair the Magic Pig.
Montclair and I both served together in one of these retail trenches briefly, and one of the times I just knew that Montclair had to be on the show was that he would pick up the intercom late at night, and you did a series of Orson Welles.
I did my impression of Orson Welles, which is classic material. Everyone loves that.
I don't know. I remember I was walking in the aisles, and you were talking. The first couple you did when you were giving warnings that the store is closing. You were talking about what is the nature of 20 minutes.
Well, what is? Because I'm always wondering that. I'm always wondering about how time is used to control people, and how it's probably more relative than we give it credit for.
Yes, yeah, and Montclair and I. Well, anyway, for that that momentary beacon of absurdity which you erected got me through that night. And I was like, who in the store is going to know this? I'm like, he's imitating Orson Welles right now.
Yeah, and no one else did.
It was a beautiful thing. Breakup Gaming Society tonight, consisting of, again, 2 people. Typhus the Traveler, that's me, your host. My voice should not be unfamiliar to you at this point. And Montclair, who may also be known as Al Vigil.
That's right.
A tremendous artist. And also, here's another thing I was glad when you told me you were an artist. You know how relieved I was when I found out you were good?
Yeah, it's always a relief.
People are like, hey, check out my album. And you listen to it, and you're glad you don't have to see him for another 2 days, because it's like, that should be enough time to think of one nice thing to say.
Well, sometimes, yeah. I feel like I don't exactly have that perspective anymore, though. I kind of like developing artists, you know?
Yeah. And, well, this is a long way of saying I went and looked at your portfolio, which is Al... What's that URL?
It's alvihilportfolio.club, but I forgot to pay that, and so that's currently offline. I'm trying to get that URL back, but we'll see.
So and I looked at it before it closed, and supremely talented illustrator, painter, and animator sometimes. Although based on what I've seen of your work, I would first and foremost consider you an illustrator, because your comic your comic book work spoke to me, and it was tremendous. Obviously, a lot of decades of I can tell you've read your R. Crumb underground stuff and your Crazy Cat and everything.
Crazy Cat for sure. I love Crazy Cat, and that's honestly kind of part of why I moved down to this region in general. You know, was because of something like Crazy Cat. Like there's like kind of a weird sense this desert has that like that guy really got down to. Yeah, and Art Crumb and Craig Thompson and like lots of those guys and stuff. Like, I'm trying to even. It's been a while since I've even read like comics. To be honest, I
just recovered my high school collection.
Oh yeah,
from my old house,
okay.
all acquired between like 85 and 87. I bought a furry comic.
Okay, which one?
Omaha Cat Dancer.
Omaha, that's the best one.
I didn't know. I was like, this looks cool.
It is cool.
And then I opened it up. I was like, they're fucking.
Of course they're fucking. Well, they have relationship issues too. It's like I think that's why I like that one, is because it's not just, they're not like ciphers, it's not like they just use them. They have, they have minds and they have sex, that sort of thing.
And it was almost an innocent, horny 16-year-old me purchase, because I couldn't admit to being a furry today. And I do have one furry comic, but mostly, Spider-Man, X-Men, G.I. Joe,
Howard the Duck,
not so that Plastic Man, Flaming Carrot. Anyway, so this is a cool night because we got over here for some barbecue and beer, and I relocated to the Southern Command Post here in Colorado, and after 6 months, Montclair is bailing on it, and
it's true. I'm turning into a kook.
Boy, tell me about it. Last night, I think I drank 3 out of 4, 7 nights of the week, and I would just pace the patio and watch the moon.
Yeah.
Which, to me, is a defensible use of time. But before Montclair goes back for the confines of Denver, we're going to talk about board games, booze, and hip-hop.
We are.
And maybe you'll hear some Orson Welles or whatever other impressions that he feels compelled to share with us.
I can do Orson Welles. I can do the Brain from Pinky and the Brain. And that's it.
That's a better repertoire than most. Be back in a minute with Drink of the Week.
Right on.
Drink of the Week.
Let's talk about the Banquet Beer. May you fight long and well.
And may you, sir.
When I was polling you about your preferences in drinks, you told me that you just like the Banquet Beer, and
yeah,
it's been so long since I just cracked one.
Yeah,
I went and iced some down, and I don't drink beer often, but I will say that out of all the mass market, mechanized production of American crappy beer, this is the king.
No, it's the king of crappy beers. It's from the best water. It's from Golden, Colorado, near my home. It's really unambitious. It's just kind of nicer water. And that's what a beer should be. I don't know about IPAs or microbrews or home styles or freestyles or hops or any of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking for a freestyle beer.
I'm looking for a freestyle beer, yeah. But do you have Gnome Furge Rocksteady? What is that shit? I don't know.
Yeah, it's become an annoyingly noisy niche. But I was just it was hot as shit today.
Yeah,
we had some good barbecue, and I'm thinking, back when I was low carbing, my rule was when the fire starts, I can get my first beer, which would usually be 6 or 7 hours before plating. So it would just be me, pardon me, staggering drunk and not eating, serving a bunch of people. But I actually waited and tasted the barbecue, which came out good. Smoked some ribs over some cherry wood and lump charcoal, and chased it with the Banquet Beer, and it just has a je ne sais quoi that Bud and Miller do not have.
Those horses are frauds. Yeah, like the Clydesdales. They are.
Yeah. Are they fronting?
They're fronting. I don't even think they're really horses. I feel like they're mules or something. They're just on stilts.
Although, depending on when you grew up, the power of jingles.
Jingles. Yeah, jingles were starting to go out, I think, because ads just are terrible now.
And I might be related to the decline of the jingle.
It might be.
Because I can still, without even, I'll be like in the shower and just bum, 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 bum. Here comes the king. Here comes the big number one. Bum, bum. Yeah. And the Clydesdales, the slow-mo in the snow. When you say Bud, you've said it all. When you say Bud, you've said it all.
No, and I think by the point I began observing the Clydesdales, they'd evolved into kind of like a supreme patriotism. It's like they're they're delivering the beer is the only thing that's stopping like an orphan child from dying, and so they have to run across these covered bridges in New England, and they have to kind of like I think run over Saddam Hussein's shoes or something.
Yeah, that was strange with that one campaign they had where they were just like the machines in the very first Terminator. They were galloping over a field of ashes and Taliban skulls. I'm like, okay, I get it. Little heavy.
It was a little heavy, and it was like, I know they wanted me to save scrap metal, but you could have gone with a little subtler delivery.
Sure. So, but while the Clydesdales' fortunes and veracity may wane and rise, Banquet Beer still works, dog. Good suggestion.
Yeah.
Back in a minute with Game of the Week.
Game of the Week.
So for Game of the Week, Montclair and I being Typhus the Traveler, your durable host, we played a game called the Grizzled. It came out several years ago, and it's a cooperative game. That is, Montclair was not my opponent, and in a cooperative game, we sort of have to work together to survive the game. The game in question was, in my opinion, a poignant little classic that's been on my shelf for years, and I've only had the pleasure of breaking out tonight for the first time in a long time. It's called The Grizzled. The setting is World War I. The characters are a group of bedraggled Frenchmen in a trench together.
You could call them grizzled almost.
Almost.
Yeah.
It was either that or Les Haggard.
Hagrid.
Haggard the Horrible. And the idea is... that one was for you.
Yeah.
So, and the idea is, the thing that's neat about the game is that the mechanics are based on the real measured psychological, emotional cost of war on people, and not on the mechanics of where do I hide, where do I shoot, how many attacks do I get. Your job is to, we get these basically hands full of cards that represent all sorts of terrible things, like having to go over the top, a rainy night, an artillery assault, various members of the team cracking up with phobias and stresses, and you've got to sort of work together to rid your hands of those cards so you can all go home. And by the way, the game is set up so you either all make it home together or you all die together. However, tonight
we did it. We made it home.
Mes amis, it's back. And then I think the group, the character I played was Lazar Botticelli. Apparently there were some people of Italian lineage serving on the French side, and
no kidding.
And you had Ensemble Terrain.
Ensemble Terrain, yes.
And Lazar and Ensemble, we both agreed, it's the we stayed alive till the armistice.
We did,
and we're going home to eat several bags of croissants by the Seine, fall into a stupor,
wake up in the Louvre. Yeah,
exactly,
all that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely, and. It was funny. I broke this out with Shosho a few weeks ago, and we must have done something wrong because I think I told you we played 5-6 times and we never got near. Basically, if you can picture the table, you've got a card with a dove on it, which means if you've revealed it and your hands are empty, that means you've gone home. And then there's another card with a monument with all your names on it, meaning you didn't go home. Except there's here's the word of the day. There's a cenotaph.
I guess the question is, what did Germany do wrong?
They didn't design any cool card games, apparently.
No.
Yeah, but this was actually it was frustrating because we seemed to be within a card of winning for several turns. And,
that's true.
And we just could not get it together. It was tantalizingly in reach, and we just grasped it, and we all came home. If you're a non-confrontational kind of person who likes a game with a beautiful theme and beautiful art and is evocative, I highly recommend anybody have the Grizzled on their shelves.
Yeah.
What was that like for you there, Montclair?
Well, I enjoyed that a lot. It was like it was light without being too light. Like you could get into it very well. The concept was clear. And I feel like there's a lot of room for kind of imaginative build up on top of it. You know, it's just the base of this game, the base of these characters, but within your own mind, you could create for yourself the hell of World War I and really experience that with all your friends.
And who wouldn't want to, honestly?
Who wouldn't? It's one of the most historical wars of all time.
Of history.
Yeah, of all history.
And so there we go. Typhus and Montclair successful at the cooperative card game, The Grizzled. Back in a moment where we're going to talk about Track of the Week.
Track of the...
Get this barbershop quartet bullshit out of here. What the hell? This is supposed to be a damn Geritol boy band you got going on here? Bullshit that is. Kind of stupid. Fucking next. Garbage. Relax and take a seat. Sit back and play the beats and blast it in your Jeep. It's the track of the week. I'm ratchet in the streets. Talk trash to the geeks. Get smacked in the beak. It's the track of the week.
So I was asking my odd and engaging guest tonight if he would like to helm Track of the Week. Mm-hmm. And he just said Dolomite.
I said Dolomite.
And it immediately popped in Rudy Ray Moore versus Dolomite versus Big Daddy Kane, which was a novelty track on his third album, Taste of Chocolate. And there are a few songs on there that are fantastic. And then a bunch that, in my opinion, are throwaways. This is one of the brilliant throwaways. Mm-hmm. But when you said I want a track with Dolomite on it, I'm like, I've got one that has one of my favorite rappers with your Dolomite, and I'm sure I got the name right. I think it's just Dolomite versus Big Daddy Kane, and you can tell, Big Daddy Kane versus Dolomite, and you can tell that he's on there because Big Daddy Kane's smooth pimpin' persona is in part based on stuff like that Rudy Ray Moore did, and he's acknowledging that here by having some fun with him in a roasting battle. Yeah, and they start off boasting, and I have to admit the part I hadn't heard about in a while was when they're talking about their sexual prowess, and Dolomite does this.
So I pulled out my dick. It was so shiny it looked like it was painted. The hoe took one look and damn near fainted. I stuck it in the bitch, and the bitch began to shout. Said, "Oh, Mr. Dolomite, take that motherfucker out."
No, it's like poetry for real.
And plus I like it's just nasty. You know who also I think probably really loved Dolomite was Two Live Crew.
Oh, probably.
Their first few records were full of Dolomite scratches and samples. But
it's funny you should say he's nasty though, because I was reading up on him, and it's like he was in church with his mother like every week, and it's funny to me. It's like he's obviously playing it up because it's like such a braggadocious kind of thing, It's like what I love about his work is that he just inhabits this desire. Like he becomes this personification of desire to the point where he's just the coolest motherfucker anyone's ever met or seen or something, And it's like a lot of his spoken word in this, which is, I've heard his comedy records. It's in a lot of his films.
But by the way, have you seen Human Tornado?
Not Human Tornado.
Oh, no. My God, it's one of those hysterical things I've ever seen. But go ahead. Yeah, anyway, go ahead.
But there's just sort of an old power to it. It's just he's using his voice. He has the club. He has sort of a musicality and a tenor to it. But he's commanding the room. He's always commanding the room. And yet it's never like a... Like you're always in on it, It's like he's bringing you into it.
He's not punching down.
No, it's like he's kind of bringing you into the manifestation of his desire. It's like you were cooler by exposure to him,
and also you can tell the obvious good spirit in which this quote unquote battle is undertaken.
Absolutely,
but I love it when Big Daddy Kane finishes this, and he just comes. What he said, good, insecure. Just like cursing him out, and in the end, being gracious, of course, to his elders, Big Daddy Kane says, fuck it, I give up."
Yeah,
like he did on this verse.
Yes, I'm the player of all players and the Mac of all Macs. Give a headache to Excedrin and knock the shit out of X-Lax. Why, you insecure, no business born, junkyard, rat soup eating motherfucker? It was in the early 1960s when I originated my pimping game. I was calling whores, jive-ass bitches, and pimps. Sucker-ass land.
So that was it. Having some barbecue, drinking some banquet beer.
It was like a banquet of our own.
One could say.
One could.
And I can only say this is a little bit poignant for me, man, because this has been really fun. And now you're leaving. You're leaving.
Yeah.
My sphere.
I'm leaving the metropolis. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so best of luck to you in Denver.
Thank you,
my
Nate.
friend. Thanks for playing some hip hop.
Hey, you're welcome.
For fighting in the trenches with me, and for being a good all around cat once again.
Yeah.
Tonight he calls himself Montclair the Magic Pig. But if you ever get the chance to see any of the work done by Al Vigil, that's Vigil, please do. He's the real deal. May you fight long and well.
May you fight long and well too, Nate.
Oh, fuck it. I give up.